Alright, hello everyone. This video is just to showcase the new Copilot chat feature. I believe it's called, like the extension itself, it's called Copilot Nightly. Currently, it's just available for private beta users, and you can access it by looking on this link that I'm going to leave here, and you can apply for the waitlist, and hopefully you're going to be able to actually try it out. Currently, it's just available for Visual Studio Code insiders. It's not available on this stable version, but yeah. So I'm just gonna do a live coding session with how Copilot Chat might be able to help us. So yeah, let's get with this done quick. Let's just open Visual Studio Insiders, Code Insiders, and you can see that the color is different. It's not the same Visual Studio as always. So yeah, so I was coding this Flask app. It's just like the server side of a web app that I am currently developing on my own. So yeah, you well in the mail that they sent you, they actually tell you to look for this extension Copilot Nightly, and if you are on the wait list you can actually install Copilot Nightly. And when you do it, you will find this GitHub Copilot tab right here. So yeah, let's start testing this out. Let's open server.py. Um, so the server is just gonna make some API calls to OpenAI's large language models, GPT 3.5 specifically, and also I am going to be generating Anki cards with a library that's called GenAnki. I believe it's not already here. So yeah, this is like the chat window. Welcome, Gigi Rally. I'm your copilot. You can ask generic questions, but what I'm really good at is helping you with your code. So let's first ask which large language model is behind Copilot, like this version of Copilot. So which version or LLM are you built on top of? Just that's just a generic question. I'm sorry, it was an AI. All right, yes. I'm just asking if you are, oh my God, are built on top of GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 or whatever. Yes, I'm built on top of GPT 3. So it's GPT, specifically GPT 3.5. All right, so it's the same model that's on the free tier subscription of OpenAI, ChatGPT itself. So yeah, let's start coding then. So I'm just gonna import here the library that I'm just gonna use on this API route. Currently, I just print out the texts, just like a property of the JSON object that we get from the client. So I'm just gonna ask it. So I'm gonna select that code and I'm gonna ask it. I want to complete the functionality of this module. Let's say function. It's better to call it function. I just need to um, generate Anki, generate an Anki deck using the GenAnki Python library. That's a library that you can look up on GitHub. Sure, here's an example of how you can use GenAnki to implement in your generate Anki deck. Alright, I'm just gonna like do this button right here, insert cursor, and I'm just gonna um, let Copilot do this thing. So you can see that right here it returns a string. I don't know if this will actually work. But yeah, let's test this out. I'm just gonna open Visual Studio, the stable version, just to have open my front end stuff. Let's go to Anki generator and open with live server, and then I'm gonna just run this Flask app. Um, how was that done? Python server.py. Let's check this out. Right, it's running. Let's just call my deck and give it a random description, random desk. And I want to generate Anki cards for, now I'm just, let's say anatomy itself. Generate. Alright, so you can see that the large language model, this is just like something of my app. Doesn't have to be with GitHub Copilot itself, but I'm just gonna hit generate deck to see what actually happens on the server, which is going to use the code that GitHub Copilot just generated. You can see that in my server, my Flask server, I have like the respawns we got here. So the server is working. Now let's see what happens. Just gonna add a little line right here, here, just to see if the API route was done. Great. So you can see that Copilot itself just completed like my line of code, and having the chat directly in VS Code may be really efficient, but this doesn't work if the code that it generates, it's not like good enough, right? So just gonna get rid of this and of that. So yeah. Oh, but this change won't be this change won't be applied if I don't close the server. Python, let's just do like that, server.py. Right. Now let's just um, histology. Histology. Generate. Alright. The server still working, like my server itself, and I'm just gonna hit add, and then I'm gonna hit generate deck. Is it generate deck? Name error. Name my model, it's not defined. So we got an error. Let's see how Copilot Chat handles this error. Let's just select the callback. I believe the best callback might be, no. It's a really long callback. Let's do from here. All right. So I got the following error. Error for the code snippet you just generated. You just generated what could be an approach. Approach. The error message suggests there's an issue. My model, random integer ID, front side. All right, so there's some code that needs to be done, like on the server side, to actually be able to process that API. So I'm just gonna open a previous project. Let's go to here, and then GPT Anki helper and open app 2. So I need to reuse the following code. I'm just gonna select all this like randomly, and I'm just gonna ask Copilot to actually just gonna use this previous function, all this previous function. I'm just gonna fed it into Copilot Chat to see if it can actually solve the issue. So the text, the text, the text that is going to be returned from the client has a Q&A format. I already coded this in Python for a previous Tekinter app. Um, how would it be implemented in the selected code? All right, I'm just gonna give it the function. Let's see just how it handles it, and I'm just gonna select all this. Now I'm just gonna select like all that. All right, so let's just hit enter. To implement the generate deck function in the selected code, you can replace the for loop. I wonder if this response text JSON object is correct. Let's see. Questions, answers, generate deck. Alright, he wants me to actually inject this code here, but to reuse a previous function, which is going to be this one. For text. Alright, let's ask it. Write write that for loop in generate Anki deck to define it here on my server.py file. Server.py file. Sure, let's start with all that def generate deck. All right, let's see. Is this copy? This is copy. So let's just define it here. This is bad practice. Like, oh shit. Let's just close that. Let's just kill that. This is a bad practice. Like, oh my god, why is it not there? Def generate deck. Just get rid of that. I know I know this is a bad practice. Like, this is not the way it should be done. But it's alright it's just for the matter of the example itself. Alright, so let's see. It didn't generate any deck. Now we're gonna save that. We're gonna hit python server.py and we're gonna get back to my app and we are just gonna see what happens on the server side. Histology, let's see what GPT has to say. Alright, that looks good. They are the same. Alright, let's just hit generate deck. Key error, response text. I knew that that was not what it should be used. It was just text. Text, like that, I believe. Let me just check real quick. Flashcard generator, this JavaScript thing. Fetch, stringify. Alright. I don't see any. Texts. It's texts. So let's do texts. Alright. Save. I'm just gonna interrupt this again. Run it again. Alright, so let's see. Generate deck. List object has no attribute. Find. Where? Line 24. Right here. Response text dot find. Did I use find on my previous code? Or text dot find. Interesting. Should I change the JSON object? Well, let's see how Copilot handles this. This video is all about Copilot chat. So I'm getting this error right there. I am getting this error. I wonder if it's because I am passing the JSON attribute in a raw state, and that's why it is not using the find method. Let's see what are his or its thoughts. Find method is being called on a variable that is not a string. Oh, but you can see that I changed this. It is not response text anymore. So Copilot doesn't actively checks your code. If you change it, it's not going to see that change. It's just going to see like all the chat history itself, because I know I changed that to texts. Where did I change it? Here. All right, so, but it's still useful though. Let's see. STR there, and just here, and then inside STR, compare the response text parameter to a string. I'm just gonna tell it. I changed the response text thing, I'm just gonna tell it thing, to text, since that's the way the JSON object gets returned by the client. Just gonna tell it that. Let's see what are its thoughts. Looks like you changed. So it just wrote back the code with that small observation. And also this is actually useful. Let's print type of response text to see if it's a string. And I'm just gonna add here some new lines to make it more readable. Oh shit. New line, type. Can I concatenate this? I believe I can't. Do I need to convert this also to a string? I believe. Just get this here. Yep. Let's see how this works. All right, save, interrupt, run again. Go to my app, and let's just hit directly generate deck. All right, we can see that we see right here that it is a string, and we didn't get any errors. So my deck, so the code worked. It created the deck using the Genanki library with all that context I gave it. I'm just gonna get rid of this print statement because it was horrible. But yeah, Copilot delivers. Looks like it delivers. Because like the context that I should give you people is that I am just developing like a web app and I have some already written Python code that I would like to reuse on my backend of the web app itself. And the thing is that I didn't actually give it like that amount of context. I just told it, hey, this is the code. I want to turn it into this. Do it. And it was just that. So, with little to no context at all, Copilot ends up delivering. So that's great. I mean, that's kind of great, to be honest. So yeah, that's GitHub Copilot Chat. Probably there are like more features, but since I am not like that experienced developer, I won't be able to actually get the most out of it. But yeah, let me let me know what you guys think of this, and let me just check if the package itself is functionable, like if to see if it works. So Anki detects it. Let's see if it saved those histology questions. It looks like it did. My deck. Study now. What is histology? Show answer. Huh. It generated the deck. That's good. Alright. So yeah, probably you people have been using ChatGPT itself, like from here, and let's actually do some other thing. Let's just take what GitHub Copilot Chat generated and ask GPT-4 what it thinks about it. All right, so I got GitHub Copilot. I'm not going to say chat because it's not going to recognize what I'm talking about since chat is very new. So I got GitHub Copilot to make this code for me. Um, what I'm just gonna specify that it works. It worked on the it helped me on the generate deck route. Let let me know what are your thoughts. Let's see. Damn, some servers are a little bit overwhelmed. It looks like. Just gonna save this, close that, close this, and also just gonna we'll get rid of that. And yeah, let's see. This is an excellent piece of code for a Flask app that uses OpenAI's GPT 3.5 turbo model to generate Anki flashcards from a text prompt. That's what my web app does. So, or do, I don't know. Structure. The code is structured and organized properly. It's easy to understand and follow. Good job. This promotes API use, the API color based on GPT. Yeah, environment variables is good. Error handling, you're catching the handling errors. Use of Janaki library. So it doesn't detect something that I actually saw, which was that it will just save a deck called my deck. And that's not what we want. We want to save the deck to the part of the JSON object that is returned here because I haven't implemented it just yet. But this JSON object will also have a, let's say, deck name attribute, which is going to be set to whatever the user inputs here. So GPT is not able to tell that. Overall, it looks like you've done a great job here. Just continue. Edge cases. Alright, I'm just gonna tell it. Um, no, yeah, it's not necessary. Like, not even GPT-4, not even chat, like Copilot X chat, detected that we are missing some things here, which are um, like the user part of this, right? Because the user and the deck name part, and not even Copilot chat or the other one were able to actually give. Let's just tell it. Let's see. Um, what is the recommended way to handle errors in Flask applications? In Flask, you can handle errors using error handlers. Page not found, internal server error, handle value error. Hmm, interesting. All right. So yeah, that's GitHub Copilot Chat. I don't know if it's Copilot X. I believe it's just a subproduct of what Copilot X will be in the future, and you have it there. It's not perfect. It doesn't like substitute the programming work itself. Like you're not going to be substituted by a machine for sure, because it they end up. I mean, these two large language models, GPT-4 and Chat Copilot, they end up losing some details that are really important because this JSON object that gets returned by the client side, um, it's missing some stuff that is not going, and they are really necessary, and there are other stuff that it's going to be really necessary to actually be deploying this on a production level. So yeah, I mean, it's a great tool. All right, so I didn't actually need it to write down any code at all. I just needed to actually debug whatever errors Copilot returned. So yeah, I believe it's pretty good. If this is just the beginning, probably the following things that's going to be coming, they're going to be really great. So thank you guys. Consider leaving your comments. Remember, I am not an experienced programmer, so you might have told, but by this time, so yeah, that would be all. Thank you guys.